Hey everybody, this is Scott Roth with the Bakersfield Jam. I'm here early in the morning on the 29th at Cleveland Hopkins Airport. We are in the beginning of our long journey of 17 days on the road in the NBADL. I'd like to tell you how we got to this point. We left the day after Christmas. We left Bakersfield at about 4 in the morning and drove over the mountain pass. We were a little concerned about the weather there and got over the mountain pass in good time. Got into LAX at about 6:15. We had a flight around 9 o'clock, and that flight was delayed, of course, because of weather. We were flying into Chicago, O'Hara, and they had some weather delays there. And once we did get off the air and got going, the flight was fine, but once we got to O'Hara, we kind of found out what the reason was there. It was extremely foggy, sleety rain, kind of your typical Midwest, cold, windy, the whole 9 yards. So when we came in to land in there, it was kind of a difficult deal there, but we made it down fine. And then from there, we met with the rest of our players. We let some guys go for Christmas break and met up with a bunch of our players there, and finally left Chicago O'Hare at about 5 that day on the 26th to head to Fort Wayne. And to head to Fort Wayne, we had to make sure that we were had all of our guys together, had all of our bags. With 17 days, we had a lot of bags, obviously, and a lot of guys come in from some different spots, and we're successfully able to do all that. Get on our bus, head to Fort Wayne, which is supposed to be only a 3-hour bus trip. It took us 5.5 hours because of the weather, and it took just quite a bit more time with just the fog, the sleet, couldn't see, and got on the Fort Wayne on the 26th that evening at about 11 o'clock at night. Our players got up the next morning. We had shoot-around in Fort Wayne. Played that game that night. We played very well for the most part. We were up at 18 at one point, and Fort Wayne made a run back at us. We made some kind of bonehead plays down the stretch and gave them actually a chance to get right back in the game, and we were able to pull it out at the very end, and our guys kind of just prevailed and had enough energy to get through that game. Trey Johnson played great. It was his best game of the year. He had 33 points, and that was quite a game for him coming back off of a little bit of a break. Right after that game, no rest for the weary, we had to try to get to Erie, PA to play a game the next night on the 28th. So after that game, at about 10 o'clock at night, we ended up leaving on the bus again, heading back to Chicago, this time to the Chicago Midway. Got there at about 1:30 in the morning. Our players got to bed probably about 2 o'clock. We woke up at 6, took the shuttle over from Chicago Midway to the airport. Flew from there to Cleveland. We had a 9 o'clock flight, got to Cleveland at about 11, hopped on a bus again, and then drove another 2 hours, got to Erie, PA at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Players got to lay down for 3 or 4 hours, and then got up and played Erie, PA last night. Erie, PA played great. The Erie Bayhawks did a nice job. Their coach does a nice job, and they took care of us there. We were a step behind, and I'm sure the flight in the last 36 hours kind of caught up to us. I'd say over the course of a season, there's probably 10 to 12 games that are won or lost in this league just because of the travel. You can't fly in a lot of the cities direct. There's bus trips in between, especially when you get involved in back-to-back games where the travel is very, very difficult in this league, and it's hard for the players to really motivate themselves as far as getting their energy level up and their intensity up when they're not really getting very good rest, and the travel's not real good, and the hotel's not real good, and then try to go in and play a game. So Erie played great. Don't want to take anything away from them, but we just didn't play very well that night. And so here we are today, the morning of the 29th. We got up early in Erie, bus back into Cleveland so we can fly to Des Moines, Iowa today. We'll have a day off today, and then we play Des Moines, Iowa, the Iowa Energy on the 31st in the afternoon. So we should be ready to go by then and have our rest back, and I feel good about that. At the end of the day, we've won one, lost one on this trip. It's the beginning of a 17-day road trip. We have three games coming up out of our 4 that are against top teams in the league. This is going to be a very difficult trip for us across the board, but the good news is once this trip's over with for us, it's kind of the end of the road for us as far as being out there for any long periods of time. We have a couple days where 3 or 4 days here or there that we might be out on the road, but for the most part, this is our big trip of the year. All the teams go through this kind of thing, and at the end of the day, it's just helpful to get it out early. It's also nice that we have a little bit of a cushion with our record, and so that this game, if you had this trip maybe at the end of the year, it'd be very difficult for a lot of teams to try to finish the season up. So once we get back off this trip, we'll have a bunch of home games waiting for us, mixed in with just a few short travel days. So that's kind of the good news of this, is getting it out early. Also, I'll be podcasting from the NBADL showcase, which is in Utah, next week. I'll give you more details about that when we get to it. At the end of the day, we're just excited about the opportunity ahead of us. I think it's going to be a great trip, a great test for us to see where we're at. I know a lot of teams are kind of gearing up for us. There's no question that Erie played great, and obviously sitting at home waiting for us was a great benefit to them. And like I said, there's probably 10 to 12 games a year where teams, it works both ways, where teams actually have a great benefit of teams that are on back-to-backs traveling in and having the chances to win on the fact of the travel and the fatigue of the players. And so that's just the nature of the beast. This is why this league is so tough, and why it's difficult nightly to compete, especially on back-to-back situations. Any other news that's out there really at the end of the day is that the fact that I lost 25 pounds on my program with San Joaquin Hospital. Doing great with that. They're sending my food on the road to me, which has been very helpful. I won't be able to weigh in for about 3 weeks because of this road trip, so I'll be very interested when I get back to see where I'm at. Once again, I started at 291. I'm down to 266. The program's been great, and the people there have been great. In the meantime, we'll look forward to talking to you probably from Utah at the showcase there, where all the NBA executives will be there evaluating all the teams in the NBADL for kind of a big tournament there, as far as having all 16 teams in one spot, along with all the high-level European teams will come in and evaluate our players. So it's a nice deal for the players. It's a nice break in the season to get everyone together, and you kind of get to see each other and actually get to see all the teams at one spot, so you don't have to worry about scouting as much, and you get to see everybody play. So from a coach's perspective, it's also very good. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at sroth@bakersfieldjam.com. We'll answer any of your questions need be. In the meantime, have a great New Year's, and hopefully you'll have a blessed 2009. We'll talk to you next week from Salt Lake City. Thanks.